Death awaits you. Reaper, the newest hero card in Champion Strike. This unit is a ground unit that starts invisible and doesn't become targetable until its first attack. Reaper also brings in an AoE attack. On death, Reaper will push back targets around him. Here you'll see a comparison between Reaper and two other 3-cost fighter units. You can see here that his hit points are kind of in line with what he does. Him being invisible at the beginning means he'll be a little bit harder to take down, but you will see that that area damage is actually fairly high in comparison to the single damage of the Blade Beam and the Warrior. His attack speed is a little slower, which you expect from something with AoE damage, but he is a little bit quicker than the Warrior, so he can sneak up on people a little bit faster. You'll see the overall damage per second is just a little bit above the Blade Beam, but quite a bit under the total damage that the Warrior can put out. This makes him a great unit for those beefier swarm units like the Berserkers or the Gladiators. Whether air or ground, Dual Shooter knows what to do. A 5-cost normal rarity card, this ground unit can attack air units and ground units. It uses its rapid mini cannon on ground units, and the pulse cannon is used to devastate aerial units. Here we have another comparison of Dual Shooter with two other 5-cost range units. You'll see that she has quite a bit of HP in comparison, although the Dark Wizard does get a little bit of extra time with his Dark Spirit. Dual Shooter has the same speed as the Dark Wizard, and they're both a little bit faster than the Fire Wizard. Earlier I had them switched. The Rapid Mini Cannon is for air units and the Pulse Cannon is for ground units. You'll see that the Pulse Cannon does have less damage per second than both of the Wizards, but the Rapid Mini Cannon for those aerial units is really the bread and butter of this unit, and mostly that's what you're going to use it for. And you will see that the Rapid Mini Cannon does have quite a bit more DPS because it's ×2, because it kind of attacks 2 at once. But it is important to note that the Dual Shooter has a 6 range instead of 5, so it does outrange them a little bit, which can be very important. Before we get into the game featuring Dual Shooter and Death, I want to just talk about what happened a little bit ago in Champion Strike. Recently, a bunch of people were banned because they were exploiting something that happened with the clan race event. Basically, what you could do is you could leave your team, come back in, and reacquire all the rewards from the race. Now, I will admit that I did do this a few times, more just to see if it was actually possible because I had heard a couple people talking about it. I think banning people was a bad idea. Obviously, take their rewards away. Obviously, don't let them be able to gain from that, but at its core it was a mistake that the developers made, and to ban people for that is, I think, not the greatest idea, especially since it was the end of the season. They handled it okay. There was only a couple days left in the season, so the ban wasn't that big of a deal, but it did leave a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But I'll continue to support these guys. I like the game. I think that they're responsive and they're able to get stuff fixed pretty quickly, as they showed there. So I'm excited to see what they have in store for us. Don't mind the beginning of this match. The guy just sat there for a really long time, and so I sped it ahead in the replay. The only thing we really missed was my Berserkers going at his Berserkers, and he used his Berserkers to defend. So his Berserkers are coming at me. Use my Musketeers to defend. Now the Leon deals with them pretty well. There's probably a bad rolling charger, honestly, but it does get a little bit of damage on the tower, which is all we really need. We're just chilling back. We could have pushed up there and probably gotten some damage on him, but hindsight, I'm always worried about going up too far. There I should have probably put the guy in front. I don't really protect my towers as much as I think I should. I for some reason, to me, it seems more important to kill the champion, but we caught him a little bit out front, and with that extra slow from the Lamia, it's easier to take him out. Now Death comes out, does get hit when he's AoE, but he doesn't get targeted. So you see there, that was a good way to get in on the sword the Swordbreaker, before she could, do all the damage to, she could pretty much one-shot the Death. But the Death does some good job, gets on tower, and you see just how much AoE damage he can do. He doesn't actually push somebody back there, but his damage is AoE, and his AoE in front of him in like a circle on where he hits, kind of like a cleave half moon sort of thing. And you'll see here the dual shooter. This is one of the best things you can use for her, is actually on defense against the Divi here. We drop units on him. He's getting real aggressive, and we're hoping to make him pay for that. When you have somebody coming in on that midline like that, you always want to try to get him. Now, I'm stupid and I didn't defend against the Meteor Golem. I probably should have, so it's tied 1-1 here. But I was pretty confident we could take that one. And if we go through this next one, the Fireball knocks him back towards us a little bit. All right, we're in good shape here. 27 seconds left, and you see that the dual shooter walks fairly quickly. She's quite tall, but she does okay damage to the tower. She does get into range of the tower, but then Death brings it in. This matchup wasn't the greatest matchup. Obviously, he could have played a lot better, but we did all right. It shows off the Death and the shooter a little bit and how they're good. Make sure you catch us next time, next Saturday, another Champion Strike video. This one, we're trying to grind as high as we can, and we're gonna see if we can get some really sweaty matches out there. So thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you, and we'll see you out on the battlefield, champions.